The Ravens rough up the Patriots last night. The Chargers dominated the Packers. Like, you start to look around and you go, do we know less today than we did a month ago? Because I get that feeling. You're not quite sure who is really good. And for the Ravens to rough up the Patriots last night, I wasn't surprised last week when we looked at the spread, and I think it was 3 points, and I said, don't be surprised if the Ravens win this game. They have a game plan. They have a coach who's beaten the Patriots before. John Harbaugh is not outcoached by Bill Belichick. He can stand on equal footing. Now, granted, the resumes aren't the same, but John Harbaugh knows what he can do and not do against Bill Belichick. And he did it again. They control the clock. They run the football. And here's Bill Belichick on seeing Lamar Jackson up close and personal last night.
Will this help your team if they have to see him again, having played him in this circumstance?
Yeah, I don't know. Right now they're not on our schedule, so I'm not really worried about that.
McLovin, I don't know if he's in the minority or the majority, saying that this was actually a good loss for the Patriots.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is playing the long game here. He didn't show anything on defense. Totally vanilla.
Right. You're right. He did not.
Totally vanilla. Didn't even try a blitz or anything because he's saving it for the playoffs. He thinks he's going to see this team again. So he was holding the cards close to the vest. Also, he needed to send a message to his defense. Stop reading the headlines. You're not that good.
Okay. So he was tanking. So this is a statement loss for the Patriots.
Do you remember that year that Brady got suspended and they came out like gangbusters and Garoppolo destroyed everybody? Then, strangely, in week 4, they didn't try a single play on offense and they lost that game. Bill Belichick will always, he needs to drop a game to get the team focused. This was it.
All right.
By the way, I don't know who the deep threat is there with New England. How long can they chip across the field? Who's running long there? Help me out.
I don't know. Not quite sure.
Where's Gronk? They need Gronk back.
Here's Tom Brady on what happened last night.
Losses always find a way to recalibrate, how you see yourself. And, we obviously have a lot of work to do. Just wasn't obviously good enough. Get beat by 17 points. That's not what we're all about. So I give the Ravens credit. I think they played really well, took advantage of their opportunities, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, the Ravens finished with 210 yards rushing. First time in 5 years the Patriots have allowed at least 200 or more yards. You have to go back to the Jets in Week 7 of 2014. And everybody talks about Lamar Jackson, some of these mobile quarterbacks, running quarterbacks, all that. You can't sustain that. Well, you can if you're smart. But if I'm a franchise, and I think the paradigm is shifted on what we see in this new wave of quarterbacks. They're not Drew Brees. They're not Phillip Rivers. They're not Ben Roethlisberger. They're not Tom Brady. They're a little more like Aaron Rodgers, athleticism-wise, but everybody gets caught up in, you can't sustain. You can't have a running offense that way. Now, that could be true, but if I'm drafting a quarterback, and the Ravens did the right thing, just like the Carolina Panthers did, if I'm drafting you by what I see in your success from college, I want that to translate to the NFL. We want to take these younger quarterbacks and say, well, you got to be a pocket quarterback. You got to be more like these guys. That's not the way the game is anymore. Look at Deshaun Watson. Russell Wilson, we look at him as a running quarterback, right? He's a mobile quarterback. He ran the ball one time yesterday. Fourth quarter. One time. You don't have to be like RG3, who had sprinter speed, but he wasn't smart when he got in the open field. He would take on defenders and he would get hurt. I would have these quarterbacks study the blueprint of Russell Wilson, like I would a pitcher studying the blueprint of Greg Maddux. Be smart, be economical, take your chances when you need to. Don't be afraid to throw it away. But, it feels like gone are the days of being a great pocket passer, that you have to be. I want you to keep the play alive. I want you to be smart. And Lamar Jackson, I would load him up and I would have design runs for him. And I would just say to him, you do not take a hit. If you can avoid a hit, you take the ground, take the knee, throw the ball away. He's going to run the football. I want you putting pressure. I want you being comfortable being yourself in the game. Not, hey, you got to stay in the pocket. Well, who says you have to stay in the pocket? Kyler Murray, that's the new wave of quarterback here. Lamar Jackson, the new wave. Deshaun Watson, the new wave of quarterback. Even Patrick Mahomes. He's athletic. He keeps the play alive. These guys aren't your typical, you got to stay in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers broke that mold a while ago. dance outside a little bit, keep the play alive. But, these guys are making you pay with their legs. You got to be smart when you do it. But I wouldn't be worried. I think we all get caught up in, can you keep this up for 10 years? I would look at you as a 5-year, project here. If you said I could get a Super Bowl, just like Carolina did with Cam Newton, if you said to the Ravens, you're going to get a Super Bowl out of Lamar Jackson, San Francisco got a Super Bowl out of Colin Kaepernick. If you can get that in a 5-year window, I'll take that. And if I can get, great production for 5 years, I know you want longevity. You don't want them to get hurt, but I do want you to play the way you're comfortable playing. And a lot of times these coaches are steadfast in saying, you got to be a pocket quarterback. You stay in the pocket. You can't run. You can be smart. And nobody is smarter at that position with the run-pass option than Russell Wilson. Just not. He was wonderful again yesterday. He ran one time. And I think that'll probably surprise you because you're thinking, wow, it seems like he runs all the time. No, he keeps the play alive. And you saw that. And Lamar Jackson last night, I don't get caught up in the passing numbers. It's what do you do with those passing numbers? You've got guys who throw for 300 yards, and most of those yards can be meaningless. What do you do when you need to do it? Do you score a touchdown? Yeah. When you run, how did you run? Where did you run? Did you get hit on the run? Those would be things that I'm worried about. But we get caught up in these, the prototypical, the blueprint says, the book says this is who you have to be. That's not the case with the position anymore. And that's why you're seeing diversity at that position.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.